News Hour with Arnab Goswami.
The other big story tonight is the growing warmth and the fantastic body language between the Indian Prime Minister and Hamid Karzai, the Afghan president, who has been in Delhi spending some quality time here, building on a relationship that has a strong historical basis. A day after he signed that landmark strategic pact with India, the Afghanistan president sought to ease growing concern in Islamabad, saying the accord will not harm relations with Pakistan. He said Pakistan is a brother and India is a great friend. Karzai sought to allay as much as he could Pakistan's fears and insecurities about the growing relationship with India, but at the same time he sought to also resist some pointed questions on Kabul's increasingly frayed relationships with Islamabad.
Therefore, we have decided to talk to our brothers, our neighbors in Pakistan. In this relationship, as we began years ago, has unfortunately not given us the result that we want.
On the News Hour tonight, I'm joined by Maruf Raza. I'm joined by Zafar Hilali from Karachi. Tanveer Ahmad Khan is former Foreign Secretary of Pakistan. And Jeepat Sati is former High Commissioner to Pakistan. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Maruf, let me start by asking you, what do you think, very briefly, to start off the debate, what is the reason for Pakistan's growing concern at the closeness between India and Afghanistan? It's a long-standing, traditional relationship, but Islamabad seems to be getting increasingly restive about it. Why?
Well, Arnab, to start with, we've got to understand what are Islamabad's obsessions. Just as much as on its western border, Islamabad is obsessed with gaining strategic space in Afghanistan. Islamabad has traditionally been obsessed with the Kashmir issue. Now, whatever arguments you put across to them, it boils down to, in as much Kashmir hamara hai for Pakistan, that strategic space in Afghanistan is essential for Pakistan's security. Both those arguments are flawed. In fact, many strategic experts in Pakistan, outside the core element of the Pakistani military establishment, have denounced that argument to say there is no requirement of strategic space in Afghanistan. But more importantly, I think there are two issues that needs to be addressed. What role can India play in Afghanistan in a future dispensation after American and NATO withdrawal in 2014? And more importantly, what role that India actually desires to play. This is something that must be done in association with talks with Islamabad, that we do not want to impinge on their strategic space, but we still feel for the people of Afghanistan. Having said that, I think we are also indulging in what in traditional terms would be called strategic overreach. We are going beyond into Afghanistan in a land we don't have land contiguity with. We are also going to a country which we do not have much connectivity with. And remember the Sharm el-Sheikh fiasco of Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's
Let me come to that, Maruf. Let me come to that part.
All about India's Arnab, it was all about India's involvement in Afghanistan, which Pakistan believes supports the Baluchistan.
Point understood. I want to get in Zafar Hilali. Zafar Hilali, what is this Pakistani fear so much? Is it regarding this whole wide-ranging agreement between India and Afghanistan that has people in Islamabad so worried? Is it stemming from the sense of isolation that Pakistan feels due to the heavily strained relationship it has with Washington these days? Mr. Hilali? Mr. Hilali?
Yes.
My question to you is Pakistan's fear regarding this deal with Afghanistan stemming from the isolation Pakistan feels in its heavily strained relationship with the United States?
Well, I'm sorry, I don't quite get your question because the line is indistinct. But I think that as far as as far as the India-Afghan connection is concerned, if...
Continue, sir. We can hear you loud and clear. Go on.
Sorry, could you kindly quickly repeat your question? I didn't hear it.
My question is, why is Pakistan so afraid of the growing India-Afghanistan relationship? What is it stemming out of?
Well, we're not worried that India and Afghanistan are getting together. The only thing that worries us in the context of our relations with India is that an India-Afghanistan military link would obviously harm our security and was obviously a matter of concern. And consequently, we are watching that carefully.
How?
If India develops good trade and economic relations with Afghanistan, excellent. But if the Indians, for example, come and train the Afghan army, which the Afghans boast, that as now mostly they are recruited on the basis of wanting to fight Pakistan, then naturally we have certain concerns, and these concerns are but natural.
Okay, Mr. Patsati, let me get you in here. You know, Afghanistan is anyway of the opinion that Pakistan is hand in glove with the Haqqani group, and the ISI is involved in the assassination of Rabbani. In that backdrop, is it unusual for Karzai to increasingly depend on a relationship with India?
Now, Arunabh, let me inform your viewers of what is the debate within Pakistan. The situation has heated up after Osama bin Laden was killed in Abbottabad, next to the Pakistani military academy. It has worsened after the Americans have accused Pakistan of using the Haqqani group to attack them. Now, I think the most important thing within Pakistan was a recent parliamentary all-party meeting in which General Kayani and Shuja Pasha testified. It's very interesting from the Pakistani newspapers, respectable ones like News, Jang, Express Tribune, Dawn, the accounts what transpired. Nawaz Sharif, for example, asked General Shuja Pasha, can you explain why the whole world is accusing us of exporting terrorism to Afghanistan? There was no answer. Similarly, Achakzai, the Pashtun leader from Balochistan, he asserted in this meeting, and all this is in Pakistani newspapers, Urdu and English, he asserted at this meeting, the day the ISI stops exporting terror to Afghanistan, Afghanistan will return to peace. There was similar assertion from Wali Khan of the ANP. And finally, the Sunni Tehreek outside Pakistan, the parliament, asserted that the ISI should stop aiding these Wahhabi-oriented groups because they were killing Barelvis. So I think within Pakistan, this is what is being said by parliamentarians to the army in a debate where the details come out in sections of the Pakistani press. So the fact is the ISI has been meddling. This the whole world acknowledges, as Mr. Nawaz Sharif says. Now, with regard to Hamid Karzai's visit here, India was never interested in military cooperation with Afghanistan. We stayed out of it. But let me tell Mr. Zafar Halali that there was a time when Pakistan was even objecting to an economic presence. The Haqqani group was attacking and killing our workers, our road construction workers. The Haqqani group attacked our embassy, and for that the Americans provided the evidence. Mullen visited Pakistan and gave it. Then the Lashkar-e-Taiba attacked our diplomats within Kabul. So these are all proven things, and as I said, I'm happy that Pakistani politicians are now questioning the ISI. So they objected then to our economic presence. Interestingly, Pakistan has not yet reacted to the declaration which was issued yesterday, and as far as I am concerned, after all, we allow Pakistan to have a military presence in Sri Lanka, provide economic military assistance to Sri Lanka. We have allowed Pakistani aircraft to overfly us with explosives and weapons to Sri Lanka because they are fighting terrorism. I hope Pakistan will show the same understanding
Tanveer Ahmad,
when we equip and train the Afghan army.
let me get in form of
and also also remember that the Taliban and the others who Pakistani politicians are saying are being assisted by the ISI are international terrorist organizations.
My question, therefore, Tanveer Ahmad, I'm sorry to come to you so late, sir. My question to you, Tanveer Ahmad, why should Pakistan at all object to the growing strategic and, if required, even military, or in other words, training cooperation between India and Afghanistan?
Yeah, well, that's the crux of the matter. Well, first of all, let us not exaggerate the concern in Islamabad. There isn't really that much concern at all. It is Afghanistan's sovereign right to sign any treaties, any agreements, any memoranda of understanding with any state, and if Afghanistan, our President Karzai, if they want to take advantage of India's strength, we can hardly object to it. In fact, what Mr. Karzai said in Delhi later on was, as you quoted, Pakistan is a brother, India is a great friend, and he said that we have just put into words what we have been doing anyway. I mean, he cited India's generous assistance for the Dilaram Road, for 2,000 scholarships, and so on and so forth. Now, the only point which is debatable, and I emphasize the word debatable, is whether India getting into the security business with Afghanistan, where we have 100,000 American troops, another 50,000 or more NATO troops. Let me explain. Now, if we do not know how it would play within Afghanistan, because there is a strong Indian association, historic association, with the warlords of the Northern Alliance, what used to be the Northern Alliance. And already there's just been a reference to attacks on Indian personnel and so on and so forth. So I do not really know whether the Indian security involvement would enhance the chances of peace and stability or detract from it, make things worse, deepen the conflict. I think the best thing would have been for a regional consensus to emerge. I personally, I'm a regionalist. I mean, I would support a kind of regional approach which brings Pakistan, Iran, India, China, they also are in the neighborhood Central Asian states, and Iran into the equation. I think Afghanistan, after 30 years of conflict, can do with all the assistance it can get from its neighbors, its immediate neighbors like Pakistan. Pakistan doesn't have to worry about trade.
But sir, Maruf wants to respond. But sir, Afghanistan is a sovereign nation. Maruf wants to respond. Maruf to Tanveer Ahmad. Maruf is responding to Tanveer Ahmad. Go on, sir.
No, please allow me to say I began. No.
Yes, Tanveer Ahmad. Continue, sir.
No, please don't misrepresent me. I began by saying it is Afghanistan's sovereign right to enter into any arrangements, any agreements or treaties with any state in the world. So please don't throw sovereignty into my face. I've already reaffirmed my faith in Afghan sovereignty.
Arunabh, may I answer Tanveer Ahmad Khan?
1 minute. Maruf, let Mr. Padsati respond to Tanveer Ahmad Khan, then I come to you, Maruf. Yes, Mr.
I think Mr. Tanveer Ahmad Khan has raised very relevant points. Let me assure him, India has no intention of having a physical troop presence inside Afghanistan. The fact of the matter is, the Americans are leaving quicker than the Afghans anticipated. Afghans have told me, please believe me, Mr. Tanveer Ahmad Khan, when I was in Kabul, that every time they send their officers to training in Pakistan, if they are Pashtuns, they are sought to be subverted. If they are non-Pashtuns, they are treated very badly. Now, I'm not going into the merits of that. This is what the Afghans have told me. What we will be doing is responding to whatever they want to train their forces expeditiously, so that they can take on security responsibilities as the Americans leave. And may I finally say that the Americans are not going to totally quit. Even beyond 2014, they are going to have a presence there. And let me also assure you that in dealing with Afghanistan, Pakistan doesn't talk to us. Our Prime Minister has spoken to President Ahmadinejad. We have been in touch very closely with Iran, and we are in very close touch with Pakistan's other regional neighbors who have welcomed what we are doing. So, if Pakistan, I'd like to repeat, I'm happy with the way the politicians have just pointed out to in fact, if you read today's Dawn, the politicians have even told the ISI, stay away from the Haqqani network, except with the civilian facade. They've told them, stay away from the Lashkar-e-Taiba, stay with the civilian facade. I sincerely hope that your army, which is given to challenging civilian authorities, obeys its civilian masters.
That's the point, Tanveer Ahmad, that, to counter an Indian role in Afghanistan, Tanveer Ahmad Sahab, Pakistan cannot look anymore at the Haqqani network to counter Indian sway.